I think most of you are familiar with Karthik, but if you're not, just one line um, around Karthik. Karthik is here to come and talk to us about communication, and he's seriously qualified to do that because he's done all that. He is a writer, he's written books, he has done advertising, he's made films, so he knows a thing or two about communication, as you will find out. But his real passion is teaching, which also you will find out if you haven't found out. So thank you so much, Karthik, for being here and for doing this for us. And over to you.
Thank you very much, sir, and it's always a pleasure to be back. It's very selfish, the teaching pursuit, in my case, let me say. So wonderful to be back. Hello to all of you, and a very happy New Year. I hope everyone's New Year started on a positive note. I thought today we would do something fairly fundamental. हमारे टाइम में ये होता था, आई डोंट नो इफ आप लोग के साथ होता है, particularly in junior grades, we were always told by our language teachers, especially by our English teachers, कि sentences लंबे करो, लंबे बनाओ, and we didn't necessarily know कि वो लंबे बनाने कैसे हैं. They would just tell us make them longer. And I suppose this stayed with me and it bothered me to an extent because I actually came up with a little bit of a formula that we can use to make the sentences not just long, but more importantly, just engaging, interesting sentences. And I think you will find जब हम ये फॉर्मूला डिस्कस करेंगे और मैं आपसे एक दो एग्जांपल शेयर करूंगा, that it's really about making them more interesting. चांसेस आ कि जब हम वो कुछ एलिमेंट्स हैं जो सॉरी अपने सेंटेंसेस में इंक्लूड करेंगे इन ऑर्डर टू मेक देम मोर एंगेजिंग टू ए रीडर, वो ऑटोमेटिकली एज अ बाय प्रोडक्ट उनकी लेंथ बढ़ जाएगी. सो you will end up with your much desired longer sentences, but they'll also be immersive, interesting ones. So let me share my presentation once. One second. I couldn't help the pun. I hope all of you can see this, sentenced to boredom, because we were always told that make long sentences. या तो हमें सुझाव ये मिलता था, या हमें डायरेक्शन मिलता था, या हमें ऑर्डर किया जाता था. That depended on our teacher, of course, but in some form or fashion, we were told, अरे लंबा करो. Now, this I've of course already spoken about. मैंने ये ह्यूमन डीएनए टाइप एक्चुअली इमेज बहुत इंटेंशनली यूज की है, क्योंकि जो मैं आपको सुझाव दूंगा, द particular elements of this endeavor which will make our sentences engaging are actually the building blocks and the DNA of the sentence itself, which, if we are a little bit mindful and careful to think about and include, our sentences will become a lot more engaging. एक बात मैं आपसे ब्रॉडली भी शेयर करना चाहूंगा, एंड आई थिंक दिस हैज कम अप इन अर्लियर सेशंस ऑल्सो. नैरेटिव स्ट्रक्चर या नैरेटिव स्टाइल जिसे हम कहते हैं, विच इज जस्ट अ फैंसी वे और रादर अ प्रॉपर वे ऑफ सेइंग कहानी या स्टोरी. कहानी और स्टोरी दुनिया की एक सबसे पावरफुल टूल्स में से है, जो हमारी जिंदगी में बहुत सारे दायरों में इट कैन बी एक्सट्रीमली इफेक्टिव एंड एक्सट्रीमली यूजफुल. I mean, I can tell you that from scenarios where one is pitching a business idea, you will see so many times on shows such as Shark Tank, where young entrepreneurs and inventors are pitching their products and services to get investment उन सिनारियोज से लेकर के। एंड जब हम बहुत छोटे होते हैं खुद, जब हमें डायरेक्टली कहानियां सुनना बहुत बेहद पसंद आता है, उसमें बहुत हम रुचि रखते हैं, इट्स वेरी एंगेजिंग। स्टोरी टेलिंग एंड यूजिंग नैरेटिव्स is an extremely powerful communication tool, no matter what you want to communicate. And with that said, अगर हम उसी नैरेटिव कॉन्सेप्ट के दो चार मेन एलिमेंट्स लेके और उन्हें हमारे सेंटेंसेस में भी डाल दें, वो ना केवल एंगेजिंग हो जाएंगे, दे विल एक्चुअली बिकम लाइक tiny little micro stories within themselves. Actually, there's a name for it. And for those of you who are interested, after the session, बाद में, go online and read up on something called terribly tiny tales. And this whole concept of a story in a sentence or a story in a line or a couple of lines is very, very powerful. A great example of this is the world of advertising, जहां पे हमें बहुत ही कम समय में, with a lot of economy of time and space and words, we are telling a story. So it's really, really powerful stuff. Now, how do I attract, engage and hook? ये जो मैं एलिमेंट्स की बात करे जा रहा हूं, ये क्या हैं? वो एलिमेंट्स, chiefly there are three things. Number one is character. Uh, Extremely important. Always try to introduce a character into your sentence. ऑब्वियसली एक ही सेंटेंस है, नोबडी इज एक्सपेक्टिंग कि आप उस कैरेक्टर से अपने रीडर का परिचय ठीक से करा सकेंगे. यू वॉन्ट टू इंट्रोड्यूस द कैरेक्टर और रियली गेट इन टू हिज और हर personality, disposition, वगैरह वगैरह. But just the fact that you will have the presence of a character itself is good enough. Please also critically remember that when I say character, and I've given the picture of this funny looking, over pumped up gentleman, but it doesn't only mean human character. Character can mean anything: dog, cat, fantasy, alien, as long as you have a character. Very important. Second element, कोई ना कोई एक सिचुएशन, कोई भी एक सर्कमस्टांस जो उस समय रियल टाइम में is taking place is very, very useful. All these things will be demonstrated and hopefully become crystal clear. So don't worry. So character and any type of ongoing situation. हाँ, इतना मैं जरूर कहूंगा कि हम थोड़ी सी उसमें बदमाशी और चीटिंग कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज इफ वी टेक ए सिचुएशन जहां पे there are there is a possibility of extreme emotions being experienced, those will automatically help us out. A situation can be, मैं bet Karthik was sitting and watching TV, and the situation can be that Karthik was sitting and watching a TV and a fire broke out. So there's a lot of difference between those two things. And I think you would agree that the second one will automatically and instinctively pique the interest of the reader infinitely more than just something sedentary. And the third thing is a result or a realization, a consequence. Um, we are all naturally curious कि अरे पर हुआ क्या, एंड में हुआ क्या. So that result or realization or final consequence is the third and final element that you can include, or I suggest you include in your sentences, which will make your sentence engaging and it'll make it narrative style like a micro tale. ये भी प्लीज मैं साथ साथ बता दूं कि ये जरूरी नहीं है कि आप जब अपना सेंटेंस लिखोगे तो ये तीन एलिमेंट्स इस ऑर्डर में आने चाहिए. ये जरूरी नहीं है that your sentence has to start with the character, then describe a situation and then get into the result. You can change the order, but decide your three elements and then play around with how you want to construct the sentence. उसमें एक certain amount of creativity भी होती है. Of course we can write a very regular linear sentence, but अगर उसमें भी हम थोड़ा सा खिलवाड़ करें, it can make for, and that itself can make for very interesting reading. So here it is. मैंने अलग अलग वर्जन्स लिखे हैं. लेट्स से हम एक बहुत ही बेसिक सिंपल सेंटेंस से स्टार्ट करते हैं, जिसमें बाय द वे कुछ गलती नहीं है. ग्रामेटिकली इट्स करेक्ट, एवरीथिंग, हर लिहाज से इट इज ए करेक्ट सेंटेंस. ही सैट ऑन अ चेयर. नाउ द सेकेंड वर्जन ऑफ इट introduces the first element, which is character. Karthik sat on a chair. Third version introduces the second element, which is a situation. Karthik sat on a chair all night preparing for his exam. Now, all night preparing for his exam is not only a situation, I think it's a interesting enough situation, because उसमें एक मैं ऑलरेडी जब ये पढ़ता हूं, मैं मेरा दिमाग चलने लगता है कि ओ, तो पूरी रात पढ़ा तो क्या हुआ होगा, वुड ही हैव डन वेल, नॉट डन वेल, वगैरह वगैरह. And then the final version of the sentence is Karthik sat on a chair all night preparing for his exam, failing to make it to the exam center. Now, that is your consequence or result. There are lots of interesting things to take away from here if we decode this sentence. केवल इसमें जो तीन एलिमेंट्स मैंने एक्सप्लिसिटली लिखे, वो तीन तो हैं ही. उनके अलावा भी जिस तरह से ये सेंटेंस लिखा गया है, जो सिचुएशन यूज करी गई है, और उससे रिजल्टेंट जो कॉन्सिक्वेंस है, उसमें भी देर आर अनसेड थिंग्स which can be interpreted and make the sentence much more interesting, which is what I wish to tell you about. Please understand that using words or phrases from a certain context, जिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आपकी सिचुएशन है, अगर आप अपने, जिसे हम टेक्निकली लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस कहते हैं, चाहे वो मेटाफर हो या सिमिली हो या एडजेक्टिव हो, अगर हम उन वर्ड्स या फ्रेजेस को उसी दुनिया से बोरो करेंगे, it will reinforce your creative understanding. अगर मैं एक कैफे या रेस्टोरेंट में जाता हूं और मैं वहां के एक्सपीरियंस और अनुभव की बात कर रहा हूं, अगर मेरे डिस्क्रिप्शंस में मैं फूड बेवरेजेस से रिलेटेड वर्ड्स और फ्रेजेस यूज करूंगा, इट विल ओनली हाइटन and make the communication more memorable, more noticeable, and more impactful, which is why, very intentionally, here I have said Karthik sat on a chair all night preparing for his exam, failing to make it to the exam center, because जब हम एग्जाम्स की बात करते हैं, it is from that universe, passing, failing, distinction, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. So it's always a good idea. ये थोड़ा सा evolved है. I'm not saying try to do this from the beginning. Maybe you can work your way up to it. When you reach a certain proficiency, जब आपके ये तीन एलिमेंट्स वाला जो बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स है, ये आपके सिस्टम में पूरा घर कर गया हो, एंड यू आर राइटिंग and creating sentences like this without too much effort, this concept of using words and phrases from that universe can be a wonderful next area to explore and practice. Now, What about the other unsaid or unwritten things? Karthik might realize that studying all night is unwise. So, your character can himself or herself have a realization because of what has happened with them, and the reader also can take this lesson from just reading that very simple sentence that one must have a balance and there's no point putting in this all-nighter like literally on the eve of the exam. So again, it really depends on how the sentence is written, and of course it depends largely on how invested the reader himself or herself is and उनको कितना उससे gain करना है. Because at the end of the day it's like looking at any piece of art. जब हम एक फिल्म देखते हैं, एक किताब पढ़ते हैं, एक गाना सुनते हैं, एक पेंटिंग को ऑब्जर्व करते हैं, we all gain different things from it. Some people gain slightly more obvious things जो एक surface level पे होती है, and some people if they analyze it a little more carefully can gain a deeper meaning out of it. So it's all about interpretive skills. Karthik might also additionally learn the lesson that it might be wise to work smart. Like I said, the reader may also take away a similar lesson as Karthik did, along with the additional lesson that last minute studying is futile and can be counterproductive. Together, this makes for a self contained tiny little tale. Because टेल की अगर हम सबसे बेसिक और पुरानी परिभाषा देखें, जिस तरह से हमें सिखाया गया था कि द देर इज अ स्टोरी विच जिसमें कुछ होता है और उसका हमेशा मॉरल होता है. दिस यूज टू बी अ बिग थिंग व्हेन वी वर इन जूनियर क्लासेस. व्हाट इज द मॉरल ऑफ द स्टोरी, व्हाट इज द मॉरल ऑफ द स्टोरी? अगर हम उसे थोड़े इवॉल्व तरीके से देखें, वी कैन से is there any lesson or message that the writer is trying to convey? Then even from this one simple basic singular sentence we can say that there is indeed a lesson to take away. Now, बेसिकली मुझे आपको आज ये कॉन्सेप्ट बताना था क्योंकि ये बहुत सुंदर कॉन्सेप्ट है, ये बहुत यूजफुल कॉन्सेप्ट है. सो एट दिस स्टेज बिफोर वी मूव फर्दर, डज एनी वन हैव एनी डाउट, क्लैरिफिकेशन, इनपुट? कोई कुछ कहना चाहेगा? किसी को कुछ कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है?
You can put it in chat, or if you can raise your hand, Manisha ma'am will unmute you.
So, this is just another sort of way in which I have explained the similar thing. इस सेंटेंस को जब हम एनालाइज करते हैं, it has various components. It is a tiny narrative self-contained story. It also is a good example of how language can be used effectively. It has a macro message, which is a broader message. It has an implied realization, and it has a possible learning and a chota sa message or lesson as well. It might seem as if I'm overanalyzing it, but all these components are very organically present in this tiny little sentence. How to use language differently and effectively, how to write a tiny little story, हाउ टू से कि एक जो रियलाइजेशन है वो इसमें इम्प्लिसिट है. मतलब जब वो एग्जाम सेंटर नहीं पहुंच पाएगा, नेचुरली he will have a realization because he'll feel terrible about it. The micro message being कि मुझे कल रात को ऑल नाइटर नहीं करना चाहिए था, and the broader macro message being that I need to plan my exam preparation in advance in a more in a more efficient manner. In a more efficient manner. Okay, exercise time. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. All right. So, to all you students, this is what we are going to do. यहाँ पे आपको वर्ड पेयर्स दिए हुए हैं. देर आर 3 पेयर्स. हर पेयर में एक ऑब्जेक्ट है और एक जगह है जहां पे आपकी सिचुएशन या एक्शन हो रही है. सो यू हैव टू स्टिक टू दीज पेयर्स. इन पेयर्स के अलावा, अतिरिक्त एंड उन पेयर्स के सेंटेंसेस में, you are free to do anything else you want. You can add one multiple characters, you can add whatever you want, you can make your sentence in whatever mood you want, in any whatever genre you want, but your sentence for torch and ship must contain those two things. Your sentence for lamp and jungle must contain those two things. Your sentence for binocular and bank must contain those two things. And in all three scenarios, आपका जो भी एक्शन या सिचुएशन हो रहा हो, वो फर्स्ट में शिप पे हो रहा होगा, सेकंड में जंगल में हो रहा होगा, और थर्ड में बैंक में हो रहा होगा. Now you will take these elements. You have to make 3 sentences, each student, but you have to make sure that your initial 3 elements are added to it. You will add a character, you will add a situation, and you will add a result or a realization.
You all can write your sentences in the chat box, or you can also speak out your sentence. Just let me know. I've unmuted quite a few of you. This is the exercise which we request you all to complete. So Soumya has written the sentence. A man directed us from a huge distance by a torch as a ship was struck near an island.
A man directed us from a huge distance by a torch as our ship was stuck near okay, whatever, near an island. That's actually a wonderful, wonderful situation, I must say. um Maybe we can say, acha, just give me 1 second. I was actually writing, in the middle of writing my own sentence, वो मैं लिख के भेजता हूँ, and then we'll come back to this. It's a great starting point. We'll make it even better. Okay, so just indulge me for 1 minute, guys, and I'll come back to that sentence. The captain of the ship searched the entire cargo hold. I meant to write with the torch, sure of locating the robber Now please understand, यहां पे मैंने ये बात नहीं की है कि रॉबरी हो गई है, but that is implied. The captain of the ship searched the entire cargo hold using a torch, sure of locating the robber, only to find a big rat with the missing necklace. So, also, your result or consequence is an opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to actually provide a bit of an unexpected twist. तो जिस you must have heard this very often, कहानी में twist, कहानी में twist. That is exactly what I'm doing here. And this format and this formula automatically lends itself to us in order to write a unexpected and surprise result. Okay, now coming back to this sentence, I'm just going to revise it a little bit and then we'll discuss it. Okay, so the person who had written the uh, directing the ship, I've changed it a little bit. I feel that instead of saying a man, it'll be better to specify who the man is. So, just as an example, these are all examples. There is no right answer or one answer. The Coast Guard directed us from a huge distance using a torch as our ship was stuck near an uninhabited island, ensuring that the holidaymakers' honeymoons were salvaged. So what I've done here is that मैंने ये भी साथ साथ इंफॉर्मेशन दे दी है कि इस शिप पे मोस्टली न्यूली मैरिड कपल्स थे जो बड़े एक्साइटमेंट के साथ अपने हनीमून पे निकले थे, और उनका तो हनीमून ही रुइन हो जाता, पर वो भी हनीमून साथ के साथ सेव हो गया, वो बच गया. सो there is this wonderful phrase called the stakes have to be raised, the stakes are higher when we share certain information, such as necklace in my sentence, such as honeymooners in this sentence. तो उसमें ऑडियंस की इन्वेस्टमेंट भी बढ़ जाती है, बिकॉज देन वन फील्स मोर इन्वेस्टेड कि ओ माय गॉड, कुछ खराब तो नहीं हो गया. Radhika and her friend were on an adventure in a jungle far away from their homes. They were on their way when they saw a broken lamp having a half piece of paper, and that paper directed them to a treasure. But uh, because of the torn paper, they were in a problem to find their way. Okay, I get what you're trying to say. It's so this kind of sentence is what we call wordiness. It can be simplified because there's lots going on and it's actually not one sentence in its current shape and form. The idea is absolutely fine. So let's revise it and see what we end up with, and we will try and preserve what you're saying. Okay, so I'm sorry. What is the name of this person? Soumya? Okay, here. Let's see this. Radhika and her friend's jungle adventure far from home ended in disappointment when, despite having found a map to the treasure under an ancient lamp, it led them to a cave that turned out to be completely sealed due to a landslide. Now, एक तो we've fixed the structure and the grammar of it. I don't think it sounds as convoluted and wordy. The other thing is कि this is also an example, like I was saying earlier, कि वो elements उस order में आना जरूरी नहीं है, because मैंने शुरुआत में ही कह दिया है कि उनका एडवेंचर तो खराब ही एंड हुआ, but I've still kept back the reason why it ended badly, which I am giving at the end, so that there's still a little bit of a takeaway and a surprise. I think all other elements are in it. The lamp is in it. The action is happening in the jungle. There are characters. There is a situation which is finding the treasure. And of course, there is a consequence. As the moon set over the dense jungle, Arjun waved his torch while the flickering lamp inside his tent cast eerie shadows among the trees. What a lovely sentence. I hope this is you and not AI. Arre Baba. Lost in the dense, towering jungle, Anya stumbled over thick roots as night fell. Fear gripped her until she spotted an old brass lamp half buried near a stream. She rubbed the dirt off, and a soft, warm light began to glow. You can just say a soft, warm glow emanated, defying the darkness. The light didn't just shine, it moved, guiding her along a hidden, safe path. Following the magical flame, she emerged into a clearing, the jungle's dangers left behind. Anya looked back to thank it, but the lamp was gone, leaving only the memory of its gentle guidance. It's really, really beautiful, but it's, of course, an entire paragraph, which I'm not going to try and make into a sentence. Has anyone attempted the binocular bank one? Maybe someone can do that on priority so that we have a few examples there. It can be quite because I had also chosen that particular pair as a slightly sort of incongruous pair just to see what we come up with.
A child, Akrit, has written that a thief was looking into the bank security with the help of a binocular.
Oh God, that's exactly what I'm writing. The robbers had been staking out the bank for weeks when finally, last Sunday, despite the bank being shut, they saw a lady accessing the back entrance and managed to get the code. Now, this is interesting also because it really sort of leaves the reader with so many questions, doesn't it? Like, वो लोग करेंगे attempt robbery, नहीं करेंगे, will it be successful, etc., etc. So, of course, this is just a slightly different example, albeit one with the three elements present. After reaching the island, Karthik used his binoculars to look for life on the island. As he zoomed, he got to see a bank which had the letters on Bank of Illuminati. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Lovely. I mean, that's a really, really interesting payoff at the end, I must say. Very creative. Okay, I was searching my book in the ship. The thieves were peeping into the bank with their binoculars. Ravi broke his lamp while running away in the jungle. Ooh, everything has been combined. Okay. All right. Now, I do want to, the fact that uh, most of us are using binocular in a very similar situation, I think it's important for me to give you guys an example where it's being used absolutely differently. The binoculars that were recovered from the wreckage of the Titanic were stolen from the bank that housed them despite heavy security. I wrote that in a bit of a hurry. There's no obvious character, but I thought it's important for me to give you guys an example of how we can take a particular mandate that we've been given, in this case, being using the binoculars, as not being the item that is being used as part of the action. A child were with their parents when they were taking their money from the bank, and the child saw a binocular. She just picked up that binocular and bring it home to play with. But after some time, bad things started taking place when the binocular came home. That's an interesting premise for a horror series. The haunted binocular. Since I had some important work at the bank, I preferred to check whether it was open and not too crowded. I picked up my binoculars and peered through them from my balcony. Wonderful. I mean, you've obviously chosen your bank very strategically. The thief is in the bank and the police is finding him with the help of binocular. Okay. I think I should also give you guys one or two examples, if not more, where the object is used slightly sort of metaphorically. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I have now totally jumbled up order, shorter, everything. The soft glow of the distant fire was akin to a night lamp that provided just the perfect balance of illumination and comfort for Karthik and his daughter to fall into a restful sleep after a hard day's trekking through the jungle. तो कॉन्सिक्वेंस बीच में है, सिचुएशन एंड में बताई है. It's always very interesting to play around with the order. In fact, I would say it's quite important because that also makes reading the sentence a lot more interesting instead of it just being straight and linear. And again, it's not exactly metaphorical, but it's being used as a simile or as a point of comparison, the lamp, and not by itself. A Polish lady stood by the bank acting like a spy on a secret mission. She used her binoculars to watch the guards move from a spot across the street. She went inside to start the heist, looking for a box of secret papers. That's very interesting. One second. And the lady was fast and quiet, but a heavy trapdoor suddenly locked her inside. She managed to send the secrets to her team just before the air ran out. When the police opened the vault, the lady was gone, leaving only her binoculars behind. How lovely. Very interesting. Very, very Hollywood influenced, though. A ship captain, wasn't able to see clearly, so he lit the torch to look around the ship and saw pirates. So, to look closely, he looked at them with his binoculars, finding out that they were bank loan collectors. That's really creative. And they were carrying a lamp that was providing them light to read the loan document clearly in the dark. But I wonder how they got it, as they looked like they came from the jungle. My God, that's wow. I'm at a loss for words. Kshitij, well done, my man. The bank is a binocular because it keeps its eye vision on our money that never allows thieves to enter. Wow, what a lovely thought. Yeah. Rahul found a golden lamp in the jungle. And then what happened to Rahul or to the lamp? Okay, any more sentences? I feel like one or two more examples I should give you guys where I can also further demonstrate the entire usage of words and phrases from that particular milieu or context. Let's see how we can do that. Mm. So I'm now just addressing one concept. I'm not making doing the exercise as such. The moonlight shone intermittently, eclipsed by the clouds. मतलब वो आ रही थी जा रही थी in the same way that a lamp would under heavy power fluctuation. The binoculars were a family heirloom to be treated with the same care as any large investment. So now I'm using the term investment very purposely and purposefully, borrowing from the entire world of banking, finance, business, etc. The torch was the only item that made the young couple's hopes stay afloat on board the haunted ship. So again, the word afloat is has been used very, very intentionally, borrowing from the entire world of ocean, sea, ships, etc. So, these kinds of words and phrases, they really, really reinforce and take home the message, emphatically. Any questions, guys? Any other, perhaps some challenges that you guys face when you make sentences? Let me also very quickly clarify कि अगर आप कुछ लंबा लिख रहे हैं, let's say you're writing an essay or an entire story for that matter, obviously, every sentence cannot and should not be this way. These are strategically to be used, beach beach mein to make things interesting. But if you're writing anything medium to long format, your every sentence will not be like this. You'll obviously have to have regular connecting sentences, etc., that moves the action forward. A 10-year-old boy named Rahul is a jungle explorer. One day, Rahul takes a ship to travel to the Amazon jungle. He carries a new binocular, which he bought by taking a loan from the bank. When he reaches the jungle, he starts searching for some ancient things. Oops, one second. While exploring, he finds a lamp made of diamond and gold. As soon as he touches the lamp, something magical happens. Rahul is suddenly reincarnated into another world. Okay. All right. An operation is given to a spy. The operation is to stop the bank robbery, but the security find a gun in his pocket. Okay, that's a bit odd. So didn't give the permission to enter the bank. So he saw from binocular from his balcony of home. Fine, I get the basic idea. I think given to a spy. Okay, acha, ठीक है. So you're talking about the spy. The spy is the he. ठीक है, fine. Hmm. Very long. I mean, you guys obviously know that you're not writing single sentences. So just to make that clear. In the dripping emerald throat of the jungle, a tarnished torch ship lamp flickers with ghost salt light, its brass ribs breathing secrets uh, the stars already forgot. through cracked binocular lenses smeared with. Acha, okay, so that's separate. Okay, good. Through cracked binocular lenses smeared with centuries of dew, the water, the watcher counts the same seven shadows circling the same tree, always seven, never arriving, never leaving. Very dramatic. Beneath the roots, the bank of Crete lies sideways, a drowned vault of obsidian coins and promises written in squid ink, still waiting for a tide that learned how to lie. Very poetic. Soumya, are you a poet? Vese, as far as I know, matlab, I'm just being a little naughty also. Squid ink is used in cooking. I don't think it will last if you write with it. Certainly not over centuries. Rahul light a torch in the ship. He saw a thief. Okay, Rahul go into the jungle for adventure and found a map in the jungle, followed the map and found old antique lamp. Okay. Ooh, one of
So Karthik,
Kshitij's.
Arjun is Manju is saying Arjun from Mahabharat by chance teleported to modern age and got a binocular and used it to shoot the arrow on the wall of the bank.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Uh, Kshitij, is Atharv your best friend? I thought as much. Okay, so in the year 2077, Athar was leading a ship. He lit the torch, and that was inbuilt in the ship. The light shone brightly, instantly blinding the arriving loan collectors. Now, for checking if he did a good job or not, he zoomed his binoculars and saw they were all wearing glasses and didn't get affected. They were shouting, "Return the loan, then escape." Fearing them, Atharv started looking for a nuclear code. He got it but wasn't able to read it, so he lit the lamp and launched the nuclear bomb in the jungle, demolishing the bank, leaving the pirates purposeless. They gave up and joined Atharv. My God. Oof. Okay. Um, just time for more questions. I didn't want to burden us with too much today, because this itself takes a considerable amount of practice to sort of make it instinctive part of how you think and write. So any questions, any more samples, any confusion, anything? Why doesn't someone make one or two sentences with maybe an animal character or an alien character? Ah, okay, fine, no problem. Let me try one. Mm, The Martian was confused as he tried to navigate his way around Delhi with a torch he thought served no purpose because he tried to use it in broad daylight and pronounced the bank utterly useless because it had no rooms for rent. Uh, what do you think he thought the bank was?
Hotel.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to be slightly sort of unorthodox because we just give ourselves opportunities of being a bit cheeky, funny, exploring various. Now, this is such a wonderful sort of slice of life kind of, albeit hypothetical situation. As I approached the ship, I saw a man holding a torch entering the ship, then another entering the bank wearing binoculars. He smashed the lamp, took the money, and ran into the jungle. All right. I mean, they're all fine. We want to try and make single sentences, and we also don't necessarily, guys, please understand, there's a thin line in any creative pursuit between being correct and too logical and then crossing over and becoming absurd. But I think it's worth testing the boundaries of that line because a little bit of irreverence and bending of logic can make things really fun and creative. Ooh, wow. Okay. You guys are all writing like big, big paras.
Certainly very imaginative.
I know, very.
So Karthik, we're at 11:31.
Yeah.
We need to.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I thought that was a fun little session we had today. If you sort of practice it seriously, it can be invaluable. That much I can assure you. It's all part of communication, communicating interestingly. Uh, as attention spans are reducing, there is more and more value that is assigned to quicker we can tell a story. So it's also very relevant to the world that we find ourselves in. So take care. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a fun reading session.
Thanks a lot, Karthik. Thanks a lot. So what Karthik tries to do for us is, share pearls of wisdom, which normally we won't come across in our normal school life. So he's trying to sort of pick up things which are you won't, come across in routine, and to share from his vast experience and to make us all better communicators. So thank you, Karthik. So now Manisha ma'am had
Yes,
got
sir.
kicked out and she's back, and hopefully she can share her screen. So, I really wanted to finish this chapter today. So, Manisha, let's get going. So far, what we've read uh, of the story is Tomoka. Tomoka Fujiki is a sales a permanent salesperson in this department store called Eden. She's finished college. She grew up in a village, and she did college in Tokyo, and she's got a job there. It's the first job she got. Uh, she somehow is not happy with herself, and we came across a small incident while she was in the store. She sold a particular garment to a customer. The customer asked her for which one was better, and she gave her opinion. Uh, and I'm just mentioning that because it's going to come up again what we read today. And she, it strikes her that maybe she needs to change her job because she's not so clear with what she's doing. She's got a colleague called Kiriyama who seems to be very uh, happy with what he's doing and very organized in his life. And so when she mentions about changing jobs, he sort of mentions to her how he changed jobs. Go to a site and you fill up your, you get options. You fill up your CV and it's asked, and he sort of showed her, and there are places that it asks what skills you have. And at that point, she realizes that he tells her that you need to know Excel. She realizes she doesn't have Excel, so he says that it's fairly easy. In the there'll be a community center where she lives, and she should be able to go to the community center and learn. So she goes to the community center and signs up for a course. Uh, and after first class, you know, the person who's taking the course suggests to her that she should pick up some books from the library. And then she goes to the library and she meets this librarian, and she has a conversation with this librarian, which is at two different levels. So the first question the librarian asks her is, "What are you looking for?" And she answers it to herself. One part is that, what am I looking for? And she uh, tries to answer what she's looking for in life, and then she uh, tells her in general about you know Excel. And the librarian sort of sums up her life, in terms of she's got a job, she takes care of herself, and so she's doing fine in life. And then that gives her an opportunity to sort of uh, immediately respond saying, "No, but I don't do this and I don't do this," which is really around taking care of her own self. And so that's why this conversation with the librarian is happening at a couple of different levels, right? There is a level at which the questions are being asked and answered, but it's sort of evoking deeper questions and in her own self. And the librarian also gives her a book she had read as a child called Guri and Gura, and it's about mice, if I remember right, going into a jungle, finding a huge egg, bringing it back, and making a castella out of it. A castella is like a cake, and she gives her the book to read, and also gives her a small felt frying pan, because when she is there, she is basically felting, and which is making things. It's like you can think of it as making, something like you may have seen people knitting and doing crochet and doing things like that. So this is a different skill, felting. And so yeah, she has a friend called Saya who thinks that Tomoka is fantastic because she's got away from the village and in Tokyo. So let's start. Next morning, I oversleep and race out of the door without even brushing my hair or putting on any makeup. I had ended up fiddling around on my smartphone after I went to bed and then couldn't sleep. I shouldn't have started watching video clips of my favorite idol. Just my luck that today I am on the early shift. At work, I am tidying a lower shelf while trying to stifle a yawn when I hear an angry voice above my head. "There you are. I want a word with you." The sound is so piercing, it nearly bursts my eardrum. Still crouching, I look up to see a woman with tousled hair, with untidy hair, glaring, right, which is looking at her angrily, down at me with her arms folded across her chest. It's the customer from a few days ago who asked if I liked the mulberry or the brown knitted top. Yikes! I stand up in a hurry. She shoves the mulberry top at me. What are you doing? What were you doing trying to push a reject like this on me? Blood drains from my face. Reject? When I put it through the washing machine, it shrank. So now I'm returning it and I want my money back. For a moment, I feel dizzy, but now my blood is up and I can't help letting it show in my voice. Items that have been washed cannot be returned. I only bought it because you recommended it. Take responsibility for your own actions. My thoughts spin while I try and calm myself. I've had some experience with customer complaints before, but never a witch like this. I must have learned something during training. What am I supposed to do? But the anger overrides everything, and my mind is a blank. For the life of me, I can't think of an appropriate response. You were trying to make a fool out of me by selling me an inferior product. I was not. I can't talk to you. Get your boss here. Something clicks in my brain. If anybody is trying to make a fool out of somebody, it's her. And if if we can get my boss involved, I'm all for it. Too bad Mr. Ueshima is not around. He is on the late shift. He won't be here until the afternoon. Is that so? Well, I'll be back this afternoon. The customer eyes my name tag. Fujiki. Got it. She snaps and storms off. So there I am, the budding career woman and local girl made good, crying and shaking with anger. This is not how I ever want Saya to see me. I, I didn't bust my gut studying to get away from the sticks and come to Tokyo for this. When Mr. Ueshima arrives after midday, I report the incident. Just tread carefully, would you? He says with a frown. I wasn't expecting much, but seriously? A renewed anger rises up in me. Just then, Mrs. Numauchi happens to walk by. Sheesh, I don't want her to know. I couldn't stand being thought of as incompetent by her as well. So Mrs. Numauchi, if you don't know, is somebody else who works in the store, but who's much older than her, but she's a temporary, and Tomoka is permanent. By break time, I'm still fuming. I have not eaten since I was running late this morning and didn't have time to buy any lunch. I thought I had a packet of sweet snacks in my bag, but then remember I ate them 2 days ago. So now I don't know what to do about lunch. We are not allowed to go into the food section in our uniform or hang around outside. I feel trapped, like my toes inside my pumps. The pumps are the heels she's wearing. I don't feel like getting changed to go outside, and I no longer have any appetite. Catching sight of the emergency exit, I wonder if it even opens. I try the handle, and the door opens with a creak, which is good because it's supposed to be an emergency exit. The wind gusts in, and I quickly step outside. Oh, I say. Oh, says Kiriyama at the same time. He is sitting on a landing of the fire escape with his feet on the steps below. You caught me, he says with a laugh, removing his earbuds. He must have been listening to music while reading his book. Beside him is a bottle of iced tea and two small round packages wrapped in aluminium foil. What's up? He asks, escaping? I could ask you the same thing. I'm a regular here when I want to be alone and stuff. And today is beautiful autumn weather. He points at the packages. Want a rice ball? If you don't mind homemade, you made them? Yeah, I already
Is sir audible?
No, he's not. He's not.
Okay. I was wondering, I lost him only. We'll just wait for him for a minute. Meenakshi ma'am, do you wish to continue with reading till the time sir is coming?
Okay, so I'll start from the top of the page. Yeah, I already ate the salmon. So the best is gone. But there's grilled cod roe or konhu if you want. All of a sudden, I feel hungry. Grilled cod roe, please. Have a seat, Kiriyama says. Taking the package, I peel off the foil and the rice ball emerges, encased in another layer of clear plastic wrap. So you cook, I remarked. I do now, Kiriyama says. A bite into the rice ball, it's delicious. The rice has just the right amount of saltiness, and the small, moist beads of grilled cod roe cling together in perfect combination with the rice packed firmly around them. Coral pink wrapped in white, I eat happily without speaking. Now, cod is a fish, right? So glad you seem to like it, Kiriyama says. All of a sudden, I have my mojo back. I didn't know it was possible to recover so quickly. The rice ball is amazing. Yep, sure is. Totally amazing. I look at him, surprised by the heatedness of his response. Eating is important, he tells me. Work hard and eat properly. Wow. Is that real emotion I hear in his voice? Kiriyama, why did you quit your job in the publishing company? At the Tomoka publishing company, sorry. He begins, sorry. Begins peeling away the foil from the remaining rice ball. It wasn't a publishing company. It was an editorial production company. There were only 10 of us on the staff. I have never thought about it before, but other companies put out magazines, not just publishing, bonuses. There are all sorts of companies and jobs out there. I'm so ignorant. We did all kinds of things, Kiriyama said, but not just magazines, flyers, pamphlets, stuff like that. Now, over here, actually, if you look at it, there are companies which edit books and magazines and flyers. The writing is done by somebody else and they then edit it. Now, of course, we are not very aware of it, but nowadays, with the computer thing, the online thing going on, this is a very common job, okay? Even did a bit of filming. Is sir back, Manisha?
Yeah, Meenakshi ma'am, sir is back. So we'll take a little
carry on,
pause
carry
here
on, carry on,
and sir's.
Nakshi, just carry on.
The boss the boss rushed into everything. He took on every single job that came along without consulting us, the staff, the ones that actually did the work. We were always exhausted. It was taken for granted. We'd work all night. And sometimes I put my coat on the floor to sleep or went without a bath for 3 days in a row. Kiriyama smiles at the faraway look. Sorry. Kiriyama smiles and a faraway look comes into his eyes. Now you can imagine that if you are supposed to work all through the day at night and do work that you may not like either, okay, and how would you feel if as students you were asked to do this, that you were asked to study all through the day and at night, have no time to play, no time to enjoy? How would it feel if you all did that? So that is one thing, this is what we call empathy, stepping into other people's shoes and understanding. And in India nowadays, this is very common that people are expected to work beyond their work hours, even at their home. Okay. And we can't do much about it because we have a huge population and the work is the employment is less. Let's put it this way. So we need to do it, and also money is less. Okay, people don't have that much money to employ so many people. So if people are working in this manner, you can imagine how irritated, angry, and upset they feel. Kiriyama smiles and a faraway look comes into his eyes. I believe that that was just how things were in that industry. And I thought I was so hot working on a magazine, but I was wrong. He pauses while he chews his way through his rice ball. I keep quiet too. I had no time to eat, and my health was shit. I used to rely on nutrition drinks and supplements. Then one day I was looking at them lying all around my desk, and I suddenly thought, what am I working for? He tosses the last of the rice ball into his mouth. I was working in order to eat, but I never had time to eat because of work. And that seemed crazy. With one hand, Kiriyama screws up the foil and sighs. That was good, he says. Now I actually have a life, a decent life. I eat properly, sleep, and enjoy reading books and magazines because I don't have to think about them from a work point of view. I'm fit, healthy, and every day is a new beginning. He sounds very happy. I had no idea magazine production was so tough. Nah, not every company is like that. Not every company is like that. I just happened to land in one which operates that way. Besides, I don't want to this the others doing their best in that company. There are people who can work at that pace and keep themselves in good shape. People who find it fulfilling to completely immerse themselves in work and nothing else. It just wasn't me. So now again, Kiriyama is talking about people. See, we just spoke about empathy with those people who cannot manage, but there are a lot of people who do manage this, and they're very happy over there. So everybody is not the same. People are different everywhere, and we need to understand that difference in people. Kiriyama takes a long sip of cold tea, but where you are now, at a glasses shop, that's completely different. Weren't you worried whether you'd like it or not? I asked hesitantly. I wrote an article for a magazine once for a feature on glasses. I did a lot of in-depth research and found it really interesting. So that might so that might be why I accepted the offer for an interview. Then it turned out that the interviewer had read my article and the conversation went really well. He knew the glasses des- designer I had interviewed. Kiriyama glows at this memory. That's not something you can plan. It made me think I ought to focus on what I had in front of me. Then maybe my efforts would pay off in unexpected ways and help me make new connections. To be honest, I didn't start at Zaz thinking that I had my future all mapped out. You can decide things, but there are no guarantee that things will go as planned. It it's just that Kiriyama's voice breaks off and he pauses. In a world where you don't know what will happen next, I just do what I can right now. Now, this is also another interesting thing that what happens to us, most of us, we don't know what we should be doing. Okay, we take up a choice of career or a path in life, and then we are not very happy. And then we read something, we hear something, and our interest is aroused. And what we do is then we go to and check that out, and we come across something more interesting and we decide to go accordingly. Okay, sometimes we may not even do that. It might just be a hobby that we may develop. So when I return from my break,
Yeah, let's
Mr.
just
You,
stop here for a
yeah,
second,
yes,
Meenakshi. So, we came across some Japanese food. Anybody who has some experience with Japanese food? I mean, the kind of things we're talking of are very alien to our eating habits, right? Anything? Have you for you? Anybody any familiarity with Japanese food? Right? There's a place called Okinawa in Japan, and amongst the longest living people live in Okinawa. There is certainly something in the Japanese diet which,
the so any food, Japanese food or any food depends on the environment. Japan is essentially an island. Okay, so they eat a lot of fish. Okay, and they're mentioning that over here. Mackerel is also quite, they eat very commonly, and there are other fish as well, they've mentioned cod over here, and rice. Okay, rice is grown extensively over there. So that, of course, and everywhere, wherever you go, I mean, the world, they say that fish is supposed to be the one of the best food for men, for humans. Okay, we go to Bengal in because they eat a lot of fish over there. They say that fish actually uh, helps in your intelligence. Okay, and of course it keeps you healthy. The cod liver oil and all that we have to to make ourselves healthy. The omega 3 and all, you find that in fish. So yes, they are healthy. The Japanese are healthy. So
yeah, so they do eat a lot of fish. Seaweed is also supposed to be healthy, rice. They also like curry. I think I remember mentioning it, I think in some context earlier. I used to travel a lot to Japan earlier, and yeah, curry. They like curry, and if Japanese come here, I mean that's one easy thing, get them to eat curry, like curry. Uh,
yeah, which is unlike others like Koreans and Thais. They get very irritated with our curries. They say that we prefer dry food. So especially Korean, Thai people still do have
yeah.
to.
So let's just talk a little bit about this job switch that Kiriyama made. Anybody has any thoughts on that? Right? He was working for this company. Uh, Obviously, he was working hard. and he was, really, really busy, but he decided to change his job, and now he's happier. Anybody, any thoughts on this?
Sometimes the work we love, like for example, somebody likes designing, is a fashion designer, okay, and they love doing it, but sometimes the nature of the company where they work puts them off it. So in case of Kiriyama, that is what happened. It was the nature of his company. It did not suit him, his personality. He wanted time off. He needed to relax. Okay, so it did not suit him. And then he somehow came across you know, an article of some work, which was the research that he did on glasses, which helped him, change his profession. But it is not necessary that for everyone it is the same. That is what they're trying to say. I
So,
wonder. I mean, these are children, but even them with the children also. Supposing I ask a child who doesn't like, who likes maths, to do maths 24/7, and all he's supposed to do is maths, okay, and there are repercussions for not doing it. Will he like it? I would ask the children over here, would you like it if that is the case? Anyone? Aryan, Ananya, Aisha, Divyansh, Manu, or anybody else?
yeah, ma'am is asking if you like something and you're made to do it 24 hours, would you still like it or you won't like it? If you like something, ma'am took the example of math, but it could think of anything. If you're made to do it 24 hours, would you still like it? Is the question. Maybe you experienced something like this.
This can be especially true for, actually, they're very young. They might not have come across any such thing. But just imagine a situation. Put yourself into the shoes of another person who's doing that.
Yeah, so I think I mean, you may, I mean, there's a limit, right, to everything, I'd imagine. But I want to just go back to Kiriyama's thought process, right? So he was very busy, but that's not what he wanted from life, right? He wanted time for himself. As he said, that I was working to earn and to eat, but I didn't have any time to eat. So he was looking for a more balanced life. What I find, very good in his case is he was pretty clear on what he wanted, and he took action, right? So, the challenge for us is to figure out what we really want, right? And many times what you really want comes from what you like doing. So if you sort of track what you're doing, what you like on a daily basis, you'll figure out, it's fairly simple. Yes. So Isha agrees with you. Sometimes I like math, but not every time because of calculation. So, I think it's an important lesson to always be cognizant of what is it, am I happy? Am I enjoying what I'm doing? This is what I really want to do, right? So I think that's an important takeaway that I at least took from this whole, uh, you know, uh, bit around Kiriyama changing his job, right? And the last few sentences, right? In a world where you don't know what will happen next, I just do what I can right now, right? So I mean, it's actually fairly deep philosophy, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Not worry about tomorrow. Just focus on what you can today. So he sounds like he's talking to himself. not me. When I return from my break, Mr. Ueshima is not around. I ask other staff members and learn that he had announced he was going through a stock check and hasn't returned. He's run away. I know it, but there is nothing I can do. After two, the customer comes back. Where's your boss? She demands. I brace myself. Accepting a return is out of the question. But how am I going to convince her? At this precise moment, the thing in front of me that I must deal with is this customer. I'm racking my brain when Mrs. Numauchi, who I thought was supposed to be behind the till, appears at my side. Can I be of assistance? Mistaking Mrs. Numauchi for my boss, the customer starts firing off her complaints. The way she tells it, there is no doubt that this is all my fault. Mrs. Numauchi listens with a serious expression, opening her mouth only to say things like, I see, yes, and is that so? When the customer has finished saying her piece, Mrs. Numauchi comments mildly, well, knits do shrink if you put them through the washing machine. You must have been quite surprised. The customer doesn't know what to say. Mr. Zumauchi turns the top inside out and shows her the washing instructions tag. It is a diagram of a hand inside a bucket that means hand wash. I often make that mistake too. I forget to check the washing instructions and end up putting some delicate item through a machine wash. Oh, but there is a way to fix it. Mrs. Numauchi continues. Then she proceeds to explain it in a wonderfully upbeat way. What? That is exactly. Just put a small amount of hair conditioner, one pump is enough, in a basin of warm water, dissolve it, and immerse the sweater. As soon as it is wet, though, as soon as it's wet through, take it out again, wring and stretch it into shape, and then lay it flat to dry. This knitted top is an extremely popular item, and this was the last one. The magenta is quite unusual. You don't see many garments in this color. Magenta, the customer's ears prick up. She's looking less scary now. Yes, this color. Suddenly her mind, Suddenly in her mind, the mulberry top is transformed into a high fashion item. Magenta. Ah, that's certainly one way of putting it. This design is a lovely, simple one that goes nicely with many pieces. You'll never go wrong with this top. The neckline is plain and the color is one you can wear right up to the beginning of spring. So I just wash it in hair conditioner and stretch it back into shape. That's right. I believe that would do the trick. Look after it and it will last you a long time. Mrs. Numauchi is now in complete control of the conversation. Right before my eyes, she has brought the customer around from demanding a return and refund. Still smiling, she delivers the final punch. If you have any further concerns, please leave your contact, she says crisply. I will ask the staff member in charge to be in touch. The customer shrinks back. No, no, that won't be necessary. Nice one. Beat that if you can, lady. Mrs. Numauchi continues chatting in a friendly way with the customer, who happily starts talking about herself as if all is forgiven. Apparently, she brought the sweater to wear to a lunch with a friend. she hadn't seen for
Oh,
10
nothing.
years. It had been such an exhausting journey by train, and she feels awkward in big stores and doesn't have any confidence in her taste anyway. But now she wants to purchase something else as a finishing touch for her outfit. Mr. Numauchi signals for me to go back to the till while she hangs on. She recommends a scarf, even including a short lesson on how to tie it, and concludes the sale. I can see from a distance that the scarf is a perfect match with the mulberry top. The day that customer gets ready to go for her lunch, I bet she will look at herself in the mirror and smile. Then off she will go in a good mood to meet her old friend. Way to go, Mrs. Numauchi. I feel so dumb now for telling the librarian that my job in the women's wear section at Eden was nothing great. I haven't been doing a great job, that's all. The day that customer first appeared, I was so itching to take my break, I didn't give her my complete attention, and I'm sure she sensed it. When the customer comes over to pay for her scarf at the till, she says, "Thank you," and goes off holding her purchase with a smile on her face, the happy smile of a satisfied customer. Mr. Numauchi and I both bow to her. Once she's out of sight, I turn to Mrs. Numauchi and give a deep bow of apology. "Thank you so much." She smiles. Customers in that kind of situation like to feel they've been listened to and understood. Otherwise, they become unhappy. I feel so ashamed of myself. What had I been thinking until now about Mrs. Numauchi? That I was above her because I was permanent and she was only a part timer? Deep inside, I know I look down on her out of a warped sense of superiority at being a permanent employee and young. I'd been on a stupid ego trip thinking I was better than her. And the woman in the can and the woman in the canteen, come to think of it. I just want to hide. Looking down, I say to Mrs. Numauchi, "I have a lot to learn." She shakes her head. "At first, I knew nothing, but stick with it. You will learn along the way. That's all that's needed." After 12 years, she looks completely at ease in her coral pink blouse. She's amazing. I think from the bottom of my heart. Okay. So let's just stop here. What do you all think of how Mrs. Numauchi handled the situation? What are your thoughts? Firstly, what did she do? What was the process she followed? Right? And this happens. It may not be an irate customer. It may be somebody who's angry and coming to us, or maybe somebody who's distressed and coming to us. Right? What is it that they're looking for? The most important things they're looking for. Right? Think about it.
They want to be heard. They want to be heard. And actually, when we talk about customer care, and this is what Mrs. Numamuchi did, that is the first thing that you are asked to do. Listen to the customers. You need to listen. Okay. And then you come up with a solution once you have listened to whatever the problem is without making any comments and all. So this is what she has done. Okay. And this customer actually went back very happy. Her suggestion was something, I mean, that was not something that she need have given, like putting in the sweater into the conditioner and all those things. But then because the customer's garment was safe from destruction, the customer was quite happy with it. The loss wasn't so bad. So this is what it is. Basically, we need to listen more, all of us. It's not
Yeah,
just
and
about
that's
the
true.
customer.
And that's true, even if it's not a customer, but somebody who's angry with you. I mean, the first thing is to listen, because when the person feels they're listened to, uh, their anger sort of comes down. Has anybody felt that? Has anybody seen that? Very quiet.
Again, something when all parents might have, uh, encountered when a child is crying, for example. Okay, you try to make the child quiet, that doesn't help. You let them cry with a hug and listen to whatever they say, whatever it is. Okay, you immediately, after some time, they calm down. It is not that it will keep on escalating. And if you try to speak in between, it uh, it grows, the wailing grows, and everything happens. So that
Right.
is one thing. As teachers, also, we have noticed this actually. Whenever we try to deal with a child who is upset, the first thing is that let the child speak first, and then, especially in boarding schools. Okay, it's not always that they get upset, but when they do get upset, and their friends and all cannot handle it, as teachers, we need to do that. We need to listen to it, and then maybe later on speak. Or sometimes we don't even need to speak. Once they're done with it, they're done with it.
Right. So, think listing, and Karthik talked about listing a few, I think, couple of 3, 4 months ago. He started his sessions with listing. So, yeah, listing is an important thing, and it helps the other person also calm down from where they were uh, when they came to you. So, she first listened. She quietly told her that actually it was her fault because she hadn't, and she said it in a way that it's not accusing her. It's just yeah, these things happen. She said, I also do it many times. And then she gave her a solution. And on top of it, then she sold her a matching scarf, right? Customer went back happy, right? And as she says at the end, right, if you keep at it, you'll figure it out. Or words to that effect, right? Which is a very powerful line, right? If you just keep at it, you'll figure it out, right? So that's something else to uh, take away. Then obviously this part around, because she was a different category, uh, Tomoka thought of her as inferior, right? Which is also, uh, but we do it all the time ourselves, right? We do it a lot, and that's the lesson to learn from there. That it's not necessary that somebody who is, you know, sort of in an inferior position to you, not necessarily less, it doesn't mean that you're less smart. And there is a lot of value in experience, and that's what Mrs. Numauchi really has, and that's what she brings to the table, and you can see how she uses it. And I think uh, Tomoka is also sort of realizing that there is nuances on this job, there are things to learn on this job, and maybe she's not in it as much as she needs to be. Myra, are you around? Do you want to read? I think just unmute her. Uh, Nisha, I don't think she's unmuted. Okay, while you do that, I'll start again because I want to just get these few pages done. Okay. That day, I'm on, uh, yeah, that day I'm on the early shift, so I leave at 4. Once I'm out of uniform, it occurs to me that I could go and check out the food section. Catching up with Kiriyama has made me feel like I want to cook something. I can't think what to make though. Pasta, something like that, but I can't decide what type of sauce to make with it. And I decide to buy an instant one. That's when I put my hand in the pocket of my jacket and find something soft in there. The felt frying pan. It's been there ever since. Miss Komachi gave it to me. This gives me an idea. I know what I'll make. Yellow Castella, just like Guri and Kura. Going into a McDonald's near the food section, I buy a 100 yen coffee and search online for Castella recipes. When I tap in Guri and Gura Castella, it's incredible how many hits there are. So, so many people have been inspired by this book to make Castella. And the more sites I look at, the more I realize there is no set way of making it. Amounts and methods differ from recipe to recipe. Then I come across a very simple one, only a few lines long. It involves no sifting of flour or separating of eggs. I made this faithfully following how it was made in the book, says the instruction. It looks like something even I could do, something I could do right now. The website requires a frying pan, mixing bowl, and a whisk. Whisk is something you churn things around with, along with 3 eggs, 60 grams of flour, 60 grams of sugar, 20 grams butter, melted, and 30 ml milk. An 18 centimeter diameter frying pan seems best with a lid. And though the recipe doesn't say so, I need scales and a measuring cup. I'm embarrassed to think I have almost none of these in my apartment. But the brilliant thing is, I can get them all at Eden. I haven't cooked in the kitchen in a long time. First, I break the eggs into the bowl, add the sugar, and mix them together with the whisk. Then I add the melted butter and the milk. Already the mixture smells so sweet and delicious. I can't believe it. I'm actually baking a cake. Next, the flour. I mix that in, beating the whisk super efficiently round and round in the bowl. Then I place the frying pan on the gas ring, melt some more butter, and pour in the batter. I put the lid on and turn the flame down very low to steam the mixture. Now all I have to do is wait 30 minutes while checking every now and then. My stove has only one brick, but luckily it's gas. I feel sure it will go well. Fancy being able to make castella in this tiny kitchen. You are amazing, Tomoka, I tell myself. I raise my clenched fist in a victory pose. Oops, my hands are still covered in flour. As I wash them in the basin, I glance at myself in the mirror. Then take a good look at what I see. My skin is awful. Probably all I ever eat is cup ramen and savory rolls from convenience stores, and my fridge has no real food in it, only a jumble of condiments, all past their use by date. And I'm pale from lack of sleep too. No wonder I don't have much energy. As I look around my tiny apartment, it's clear that diet isn't my only problem. Dust coats the floor and the windows are so dirty I can barely see through them. There are clothes hanging everywhere because I have fallen into the habit of leaving washed clothes out to take straight from the hangers to wear instead of putting them away. My shelves are a mess of assorted objects, bottles of nail polish gone hard, 3 month old TV magazine, a yoga DVD I bought 6 months ago on a whim and never even opened. It dawns on me that I've not been looking after myself. I don't care about what I put in my mouth or my surroundings, and I treat myself carelessly, like Kiriyama, but for different reasons. I too have not been living a decent life. After washing my hands thoroughly, I give the apartment a quick clean while waiting for the Costella to cook. I fold up laundry and run the vacuum cleaner over the floor. Once I start, my body seems to move by itself. In my mind, it always seems like a huge task to do cleaning. But when I actually get down to it, the small one room apartment scrubs up well in no time. Easy peasy. Um, the sweet smell of baking fills my beautifully clean space. I check the costella and see the batter beginning to rise so well it looks like it might lift the lid off. Amazing! I whoop at the sight of it, looking so fluffy and golden, just like the picture in the book. I can't resist lifting up the lid for a peek. The edges are already setting, but there are air bubbles in the center, which still looks runny. So I set the lid down again. Maybe I'm a teeny bit closer to leading a decent life now. I sit on the floor, leaning against the wall, and open up Guri and Gura, two field mice who go deep into the forest. When our basket is full of acorns, let's boil them with lots of sugar, says Guri. Acorns we've come across earlier, nut of an oak tree. When our basket is full of chestnuts, let's boil them till they're soft enough to make chestnut cream, says Gura. Oh, I sigh. Guri and Gura didn't go into the forest to look for an egg, let alone make castella. They went looking for acorns and chestnuts, food that they ate every day, just like they always did. And unexpectedly, they found a giant egg. I remember Saya saying, if you don't know what to do with an egg in the first place, you wouldn't think of castella. She's right. Now I get it. When they found the egg, they knew what it could be used for because they already knew how to make castella. Yes, my heart sings as I realize I may have hit on some truth. In high hope, I head back to the stove. The smell of baking is even stronger now. I open the lid and gasp. The edges of batter are black where it has overcooked in the pan, and where I was expecting to see a fluffy center is a sunken cavity. In shock, I turn it on to a plate with a spatula. The bottom is burned, and the moment I remove it from the frying pan, it sinks even more in the middle. The gluggy mass spreads stickily out sideways. Mm. I break off a piece to try. It doesn't taste at all like castella. This is glutinous, being sticky and tough like rubber. What did I do wrong? I can't understand it. I thought I followed the recipe exactly. While chewing on the overtly sweet, horrible lump, it suddenly strikes me as funny and I fall about laughing. I'm not devastated. If anything, I feel good. What's to cry about when I have a tidy apartment and a sink full of cooking utensils? I will not give up. I can learn how to do this thing. Okay, so we still have 4 pages to go and close to 12:30, so maybe better to stop here. Any thoughts, anybody, on what we just read? Right, you can see she's beginning to get her life together, right? Anybody, any thoughts? How did this happen?
When we are not very happy, everything around us seems to be in a mess. So that's what she's talking about. And when you decide that you want, your life is going to be happy. when you decide that and you're going to work towards it, then what happens? You start with a small thing, and then everything falls into place, because we are just putting off our work because we are not happy with our life. We are not satisfied with our life, and that's what happened with her. And then, of course, things may not. Something did not turn out to be so good, but then she's confident. She's very confident that now onwards everything will be good. She can work towards it. It's not that first time it may not have turned out to be exactly what she wanted to do it to be, but she's not giving up anymore, because she is now happy about her life. She's determined that she'll be happy. She's determined that she'll be happy. She will not carry on with life the way she was carrying
Yeah,
on.
she found this the fact that it didn't turn out well to be funny. So yeah, at least she's seeing the funny side of it. So let's see what happens rest of the story, what she actually does. So thank you everybody, and see you again next Sunday. Bye. Bye, Manisha ma'am. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And like children were asking when we are going to read the reflections, so please send reflections. And
Next time,
since
next
it's
time, then we'll
already
do
30
that because
past
we
12,
need
so next week we are going to read the reflection, and we are going to allot some time for reading your reflections.
yeah. I mean, I was actually pushing, and maybe I shouldn't have pushed to try and finish this chapter today. But anyway,
But yes, we could actually see the baking being done, the cleaning being done. So when you were reading, the thought and the images were coming to my mind. So I hope it was same for all other children. So likewise, please do write reflection. There are ample of reflections. You can go to a website to read it for yourself. And during the session, we are going to read the next week. I will separate some time, especially for the reflection reading. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye bye. Take care.